For millennia, humanity gazed at the heavens, convinced Earth was the unmoving center of all creation. A grand, elegant design where sun, moon, and stars dutifully circle our planet. This was not just belief, it was the bedrock of science and faith, undisputed for ages. But in one man's hands, a simple tube of lenses would shatter it all, revealing a cosmos far stranger and more magnificent than our ancestors could have ever conceived, a truth etched in starlight in motion. Padua, Italy, early 17th century. Galileo Galilei, a professor, a thinker, a tinkerer. He wasn't content with what the books said. He sought truth not in ancient texts, but in the very fabric of reality, in what his own eyes could perceive. His mind hummed with questions the world wasn't ready to answer, questions about motion, gravity, and the very structure of the universe that gnawed at his intellect relentlessly. Inspired by a Dutch invention, Galileo improved the spyglass, turning it into something extraordinary, a telescope. A tool not for spying on ships, but for charting the celestial sea. He pointed it skyward, not to confirm old wisdom, but to search for new horizons, for the unfiltered truth of the cosmos. This was no mere improvement, it was a quantum leap in perception, granting him a God's eye view of the heavens. Then came the revelation. He turned his gaze to Jupiter. And there, incredibly, were tiny pinpricks of light, dancing around the giant planet. Not fixed stars, but celestial bodies in motion, dependent on Jupiter itself. They were moons. 4 of them, like a miniature solar system, orbiting a world that was not our own, a profound disruption of the established cosmic order. This was profound. If Jupiter could have moons orbiting it, then not everything revolved around the Earth. The celestial order, the very foundation of the geocentric universe, was being questioned by simple observation. Galileo had found proof. Proof that the cosmos was far grander and more complex than anyone imagined. The elegant simplicity of the old model crumbled under the weight of these new, irrefutable celestial dancers. He observed Venus, too. Seeing it wax and wane, displaying phases just like our moon. This could only happen if Venus orbited the Sun, not the Earth. The heliocentric model, first proposed by Copernicus, was no longer just a theory, it was becoming a visible reality, a fact of nature confirmed by a simple glass lens and persistent observation. Galileo published his findings in Sidereus Nuncius, the Starry Messenger. He shared his incredible discoveries, the evidence from his telescope. He believed that truth, revealed through observation and reason, would be welcomed. He expected wonder, not condemnation, sharing his findings with the world in 1610, eager for intellectual discourse. But the world of power was not ready. The prevailing view, supported by the Church and centuries of tradition, placed Earth at the center. To suggest otherwise was to challenge not just science, but divine order. Galileo's telescopic truths were seen as dangerous, heretical, even a direct assault on the established cosmic hierarchy that had held sway for over a millennium. The scholars of the day, many of whom had never even looked through a telescope, scoffed. They clung to Aristotle and Ptolemy, their minds closed to new evidence. They debated philosophy, not physics. They accused Galileo of misinterpreting what he saw, or worse, fabricating it entirely, unable to accept that their vast libraries of knowledge might be fundamentally flawed. The Roman Inquisition, the powerful arm of the Church, took notice. Galileo was summoned. He was interrogated. The weight of authority bore down on him, demanding he abandon his observations, his truth. He was warned not to hold, teach, or defend the Copernican system, a decree that felt like a gag on the very faculty of sight itself. Galileo, a man who loved logic and empirical truth, found himself in an impossible bind. He believed in God, but he also believed in the evidence of his own eyes. He chose a path of compromise, publicly distancing himself from the heliocentric theory to avoid severe punishment, a bitter pill for a man whose life's work was rooted in speaking plain, observable fact. Yet, the heliocentric idea was too powerful to suppress. In 1632, Galileo published Dialogue concerning the two chief world systems. A masterpiece of argument, it subtly, but undeniably, favored the sun-centered universe. The authorities saw it as defiance, a direct challenge to their authority, a book that would ignite intellectual fires across Europe. This time, there was no escape. He was brought before the Inquisition in Rome. The trial was swift, the verdict predetermined. He was found vehemently suspect of heresy. The pressure was immense, the threat of torture and the stake a very real possibility for a man whose only crime was looking too closely at the stars. At 69 years old, frail, and facing the wrath of the most powerful institution in Europe, Galileo was compelled to recant. He uttered the words they demanded, abjuring his belief in the Earth's motion. A profound, deeply personal defeat for a man whose life was dedicated to the pursuit of observable truth. Legend claims that after his recantation, under his breath, he whispered, "Eper si move," and yet it moves. Whether true or not, the sentiment encapsulates his spirit. The universe obeyed its own laws, regardless of human decree or forced pronouncements. The Earth continued its silent, undeniable journey around the sun. His sentence was house arrest, a gilded cage. He spent his remaining years under the watchful eye of the church, confined to his villa in Arcetri, near Florence. But even in isolation, his mind remained unbound. He continued his scientific work, albeit in secret, focusing on mechanics and the strength of materials. His most significant later work, Two New Sciences, published in 1638, laid the groundwork for modern physics. It explored concepts of motion, inertia, and the properties of matter, written from memory and smuggled out of Italy to be published in Holland. It was a testament to his enduring intellect and his refusal to let suppression extinguish his scientific curiosity. Galileo's legacy is immeasurable. He didn't just invent a better telescope, he invented a new way of seeing the universe. He championed empirical evidence over dogma, observation over blind faith. He showed us that the cosmos does not cater to our comfort, but reveals its truths to those brave enough to look. The heliocentric model, once heresy, is now fundamental. We know the Earth orbits the Sun. We know Jupiter has moons. We know Venus has phases. These are not theories, they are facts, built upon the foundation Galileo laid with his telescope and his courage. His work irrevocably shifted humanity's place in the universe. His struggle was not just about astronomy, it was about the nature of truth itself. It was about the conflict between established authority and the relentless pursuit of knowledge. It was about the courage to question, to observe, and to trust what the universe reveals, even when it contradicts everything you've ever been taught. Galileo's defiance wasn't loud or violent, it was quiet, persistent observation. It was the unwavering belief that the book of nature is written in the language of mathematics, and its characters are triangles, circles, and other geometric figures. He saw a universe that was not designed for our ego, but for its own magnificent, indifferent laws. The scientific method, which he so brilliantly embodied, became the cornerstone of modern inquiry. Test hypotheses, gather data, analyze results. His insistence on observation and experiment paved the way for centuries of discovery, from Newton's laws to Einstein's relativity, and beyond. He faced immense pressure, the threat of torture, the loss of his reputation, and ultimately, his freedom. Yet, through it all, the universe he observed continued to spin, to orbit, to reveal its secrets. His discoveries were not extinguished by decree, they simply waited for the world to catch up to the undeniable evidence he had presented. Consider the sheer courage it took. To stand against centuries of accepted wisdom, against the most powerful institution of his time, armed with nothing but a lens and an unshakable commitment to empirical truth. His story is a profound reminder that sometimes, the greatest battles are fought not with swords, but with sight. His recantation was a tragic necessity, a personal sacrifice for the advancement of knowledge. But the truth he uncovered could not be unseen. It had been etched into the fabric of reality, waiting to be rediscovered, validated, and ultimately, embraced by a world ready to understand its true place among the stars. The universe he revealed was not small and cozy, centered on humanity. It was vast, majestic, and indifferent to our wishes. This humility, this understanding of our true scale, is perhaps his most enduring gift. It is the cosmic perspective that allows us to appreciate the immense beauty and complexity of existence. Galileo Galilei was not just an astronomer, he was a revolutionary. He ignited the scientific revolution, transforming how we seek knowledge and understand our world. His legacy is etched not just in the stars, but in every laboratory, every classroom, every mind that dares to ask why, and seeks an answer through observation. He saw Jupiter's moons and understood motion in a new way. He saw Venus's phases and confirmed a sun-centered system. He saw the moon's craters and realized celestial bodies were not perfect spheres. Each observation, a tiny chip at the edifice of old beliefs, revealing the robust, complex truth beneath. His life was a testament to the power of curiosity and the resilience of truth. Even under house arrest, even after being forced to deny what he knew to be true, his mind continued to explore, to question, to discover. The fire of his intellect, though dimmed by age and oppression, never truly went out. The universe does not care for our comfort or our preconceptions. It simply is. Galileo taught us to look, to measure, to test, and to accept what we find, no matter how unsettling. This intellectual humility is the cornerstone of all true understanding, a vital lesson for any age. He was a man of his time, caught between the old world of faith and dogma, and the new world of reason and science. His story is not just about astronomy, it's a universal narrative of the struggle for intellectual freedom, a battle fought by countless individuals across history. The Church eventually acknowledged its error, centuries later, rehabilitating Galileo's name. But his true vindication came not from papal pronouncements, but from the relentless march of scientific understanding, confirming his observations and validating his courage. The heavens themselves bore witness to his truth. His telescope, a simple tube with lenses, became an instrument of profound revolution. It allowed humanity to break free from its terrestrial confines, to see itself as part of something infinitely larger and more mysterious. It was the dawn of a new cosmic awareness, forever altering our perspective. Think about that moment. Standing alone, looking through his telescope, seeing things no human had ever seen before. The moons of Jupiter, the phases of Venus, the mountains on the moon. A universe far more dynamic, more complex, and more awe-inspiring than the static, Earth-centered model allowed. He paid a heavy price for his vision. Condemnation, trial, confinement. But the universe, indifferent to human politics and dogma, continued its grand, silent performance. The truths he observed were absolute, waiting patiently for humanity to align its understanding with reality. Galileo's legacy is not just in the scientific facts he uncovered, but in the spirit of inquiry he championed. The courage to question, to observe, and to accept the universe as it is, not as we wish it to be. This spirit is the engine of all progress, the spark that illuminates the path forward for humanity. He dared to see beyond the established narratives, beyond the comfort of tradition, and embraced the stark, beautiful reality of the cosmos. His life story is a profound testament to the power of human observation, the enduring nature of scientific truth, and the courage required to chase it, even against overwhelming opposition. From his improved telescope, he glimpsed a universe that echoed the elegance of mathematics and the power of empirical evidence. He challenged the very foundations of human understanding, forcing us to confront our true, small place in a vast, magnificent cosmos. A truth that, once seen, could never be unseen. Galileo's unwavering pursuit of knowledge, his willingness to challenge the status quo, and his profound discoveries forever changed our perception of the universe. His courage in the face of adversity continues to inspire us to look deeper, to question more, and to embrace the truths that lie just beyond our current understanding. His name isn't etched on every telescope today, but his vision is. It took years of deep dives into dusty archives and complex translations to reconstruct this pivotal moment. If his fight for truth moved you, a like and a subscribe are what help us uncover the next story nobody thought to write down.